You don't need another miracle. You don't need motivation. You need a decision to rise before the world wakes, to claim the quiet hours and turn them into your personal battlefield. Because those first 60 minutes of your day, that's where greatness is built or broken. And in the next 21 days, you're either rewriting your story or repeating the same excuses. Let's begin. There's something sacred about 5 a.m. Not because the sun is rising or because the world is still asleep, but because it's the hour most people avoid. And that's exactly why you need to claim it. This is where champions are made. Not on the stage, not in front of the cameras, but in the silence of early mornings, when no one is watching. The world rewards those who do what others won't. Waking up at 5 a.m. isn't about joining a trend. It's about making a statement. It tells your mind, I'm in control now. That you're done living in reaction mode. That you're done letting the day push you around. Because when you wake up with the sun, you rise with intention. You rise with fire. You don't stumble into your day. You strike first. You lead. You decide. And that's what separates the relentless from the average. Waking up early isn't just about beating the clock. It's about beating the old version of yourself. The one who stayed up too late, who needed caffeine just to function, who hit snooze more times than they can count. That version of you. They can't build empires. They can't hold the weight of a vision. They can't execute on the level you're aiming for. But the 5 a.m. you, that version is dangerous, disciplined, unstoppable. Because while the rest of the world is negotiating with the alarm clock, you've already begun your conquest. Your edge doesn't come from talent. It comes from consistency, from the quiet decisions you make when nobody's watching. That's where real transformation begins. Not when it's convenient, but when it's earned. Every morning you wake up before the world is a declaration that you're not living life on default. You're designing it. You're no longer waiting for permission to start fresh. The first few days will test you. Your body will resist. Your mind will whisper lies like, 5 more minutes. But that's exactly the battlefield you were meant to conquer. Growth doesn't come wrapped in comfort. It comes disguised as sacrifice. And when you choose discomfort over ease, even for a few moments every morning, you remind yourself what you're made of. You remind the universe that you're serious, that you're done playing small, that from this moment forward, average isn't even on the table. Think about what 5 a.m. really gives you: peace, focused space to think clearly, no distractions, no noise, just you and the mission. This is the hour where you build clarity before the chaos begins. And it's in that clarity that you find your voice again. The one that's been buried under deadlines, demands, expectations. You're not just getting up early. You're reclaiming your power. You're telling life, I'm no longer available for drama, for doubt, for delay. You're stepping into your morning like it's a contract with your future self. Because the decisions you make at 5 a.m. ripple through the rest of your day. And eventually, your life. Success doesn't begin with a big break. It begins with a brutal choice. The choice to get up. The choice to show up. The choice to become the kind of person who refuses to waste time, to wait for motivation, to hope someone else saves them. No one is coming. And that's a gift, because that means it's all on you now. Your habits, your rituals, your time. The person who rises at 5 a.m. isn't just ahead on the clock. They're ahead in life. They've chosen to master the morning, so the day doesn't master them. And once you make that shift, the world starts to shift with you. Opportunities don't just show up. You attract them because your energy speaks before you do. This isn't just about 21 days. It's about who you become on the other side of them. You're not just forming a habit. You're forging an identity. You're becoming someone who honors their word, who doesn't break promises to themselves, who doesn't need external validation to show up fully. That version of you, they're lethal. They're focused. They're powerful beyond measure. And every time you beat the sun out of bed, you're moving closer to them. So let the rest of the world sleep. You've got a life to build. If you want to lead, to create, to win, start by mastering your body. Your mind may hold the vision, but it's your body that does the work. And yet, so many people wake up and dive straight into stress, emails, deadlines, demands, without ever activating their engine. That's not how greatness operates. Your body is your foundation, and when your foundation is weak, everything else crumbles. You want energy? Start by earning it. Move, stretch, sweat. It doesn't need to be complicated, but it must be intentional. When your feet hit the ground in the morning, you're not just waking up. You're waking yourself up. You're sending a message to your nervous system, to your cells, to your spirit. We're not here to coast. We're here to conquer. Movement first thing in the morning does something no amount of caffeine can replicate. It lights up the brain. It shifts your chemistry. You go from sluggish to sharp, from reactive to responsive. Because when the blood starts flowing, so does your focus. So does your discipline. You become alert, aware, engaged. And this matters, because the world is going to demand your attention all day long. If you don't own your energy from the moment you rise, someone else will. The habit of moving your body every morning isn't just about physical strength. It's mental dominance. It builds resilience. It teaches you to push through resistance, to choose effort over ease, to train your brain to stay committed when things get uncomfortable. And that, right there, is how confidence is built, not through words, but through action. So many people walk around tired, foggy, burnt out, not because they're broken, but because they've forgotten how to recharge themselves. Your body was never designed to sit still, to remain dormant. It was built to move, to run, to stretch, to fight. And yet we treat physical movement like a luxury, instead of what it really is, a necessity. It's not about getting six-pack abs or burning calories. It's about showing up to your life fully awake. You weren't born to drag yourself through the day. You were born to ignite it. And that ignition happens when you move your body like it matters. Because it does. This is where most people get it wrong. They think movement is optional. They wait for the right time to work out, for the mood to strike, for their schedule to magically open up. But high performers don't wait. They build it in. They prioritize it. Because they understand something most people don't. How you move in the morning sets the tone for everything that follows. You want to feel powerful in meetings, focused during your work, patient with your family. That starts with what you do the first hour of your day. You don't have to run a marathon, but you do have to move like your future depends on it. Because it does. Every drop of sweat, every rep, every stretch, it all adds up to someone who doesn't make excuses. Your body is a mirror of your discipline. And the way you treat it tells the world everything it needs to know about how serious you are. Do you care enough about your mission to take care of the machine that's going to get you there? Or are you just hoping your goals will carry themselves? Movement is the reminder that you're a participant in your life. not a spectator. That you're willing to get uncomfortable to build the strength required to carry your vision. And here's the truth. When you treat your body like it matters, you start treating everything else like it matters too. You stop settling. You start choosing differently. Your standards rise. And when your standards rise, your life does too. The next 21 days aren't about a workout plan. They're about building consistency, discipline, ownership. You're not just moving your body to feel good. You're moving it to become someone different. Someone stronger, sharper, more grounded. Because every morning you choose to move, you're choosing to lead your life with intention instead of drifting through it. You're reminding yourself that you're capable of effort, even when you don't feel like it. That you're not ruled by laziness or comfort. You're ruled by purpose. And when that becomes your identity, nothing can shake you. Not stress, not failure, not doubt. Because the body is no longer an obstacle, it's your weapon. And now you know how to use it. The cold hits you like a wall. Every part of your mind screams, step back. This isn't necessary. But that moment, the moment of resistance, is exactly why you step in. Because cold doesn't just challenge your body, it confronts your limits. It strips away comfort, excuses, and hesitation. And in that raw exposure, something powerful happens. You learn that discomfort isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. Every cold shower is a battle. And every time you win, you're not just building willpower. You're declaring that fear doesn't control you anymore. You're no longer ruled by what's easy. You're ruled by what's necessary. Most people won't do it. They'll say it's extreme, unnecessary, too hard. But let's be honest. The life you want isn't ordinary, so your habits can't be either. When you willingly expose yourself to discomfort first thing in the morning, you begin rewriting the script your brain has followed for years. The script that says comfort is the goal, that ease equals success. But the truth is, success is forged in fire, in grit, in doing what others won't. A cold shower doesn't just wake you up. It transforms the way you face your entire day. It tells your nervous system, get ready, we do hard things. That's not just a habit, that's identity shift. This practice, though simple, is one of the fastest ways to build mental toughness. Because it removes the lie that strength is something you're born with. No, strength is built by choice. It's built by stepping into that icy water when everything in you wants to walk away. It's not about the cold. It's about control. You control your reactions. You control your breath. You control your mind in the middle of chaos. And when you train yourself to do that in the shower, you start doing it everywhere. In conversations, in conflict, in crisis. Your mind becomes calmer, sharper, more commanding. You stop panicking in discomfort and start performing in it. There's a reason elite performers, soldiers, entrepreneurs, and athletes swear by this habit. Because it cuts through laziness like a knife. It forces presence. You're not thinking about your to-do list when cold water crashes over your shoulders. You're right there locked in. That kind of presence is rare in today's world. And it's powerful. It sharpens your focus, accelerates recovery, boosts discipline. But more than that, it tells you the truth about who you are. Because in the cold, you can't fake strength. You either face it or you run. And when you face it day after day, you start to realize something you've been capable all along. There is no right time to get uncomfortable. You will never feel like shocking your system awake. That's the whole point. You train in the cold to learn that discipline isn't a feeling. It's a decision. If you only act when you feel ready, you'll stay exactly where you are. But when you condition yourself to act in discomfort, to lead in chaos, to choose challenge over ease, everything changes. Your baseline rises. Your tolerance expands. You stop running from hard things and start looking them in the eye. That's what a cold shower builds. Not just resilience, but readiness. Readiness for whatever the world throws at you. Because you've already faced resistance and won. This isn't about hygiene. It's about headspace. About showing up to your life, fully awake, fully alive. You want to feel alive. Step into something that scares you a little. That tests you. That forces you to breathe through the panic and stay still in the storm. That's not just a physical practice. It's emotional strength. It's mental mastery. And when you start your day that way, nothing else can shake you. Not the traffic, not the deadlines, not the critics. Because you've already done the hardest thing before the world even touched you. You've already proven that comfort no longer runs your life. You do. Silence isn't empty. It's full of answers. And yet most people run from it like it's a threat. They wake up and immediately grab their phones, plug into the noise, the chaos, the demands of the world. But what they don't realize is that in doing so, they're handing over the most powerful moment of their day to distraction. The first moments of the morning aren't meant to be spent reacting. They're meant for reclaiming. Reclaiming your mind, your breath, your energy. And when you sit in stillness, even for just 10 minutes, you're not doing nothing. You're doing the most important thing you can, remembering who you are before the world tells you to be. We live in a culture that glorifies hustle, but fears stillness. That pushes productivity, but neglects presence. But greatness isn't born from constant motion. It's born from clarity. And clarity comes in quiet. When you sit in silence in the morning, you're not escaping your responsibilities. You're preparing for them. You're aligning your energy, checking in with your spirit, grounding your thoughts before the day tries to scatter them. You take that time to listen. Not to the noise of the world, but to your own inner voice. The one that gets buried under notifications, opinions, and pressure. That voice carries your vision. And if you never make space to hear it, you'll spend your life chasing someone else's version of success. This isn't meditation for the sake of wellness trends. This is a power move. This is strategic mental conditioning. You're choosing to be still so that you can be unshakable. You're choosing focus over frenzy. In a world that pulls your attention in every direction, the ability to sit still, to breathe deeply, to hold space for your thoughts without judgment, that's not weakness. That's strength. You're building mental discipline. You're becoming the kind of person who doesn't react to every trigger, every email, every piece of bad news. You respond with intention, with clarity, with power, because you took the time to set your foundation before stepping into the chaos. Even your physiology changes when you start your day with silence. Your heart rate slows, your cortisol drops, your nervous system resets. You begin the day in control, not in crisis. You're not scrambling to catch up. You're grounded, calm, steady. That energy ripples into everything you do. Your conversations change. Your decisions improve. Your ability to handle stress expands. Because you didn't just jump into the day. You stepped into it with purpose. You approached it like a leader, not a victim. And that 10-minute ritual, done consistently, begins to rewire how you show up in the world. Visualization adds another layer to this stillness. While your body is calm, your mind is active. on purpose. You're not daydreaming. You're rehearsing your reality. You're seeing your goals with clarity. You're imagining yourself walking through challenges with confidence, finishing tasks with excellence, leading with strength. And your brain, when guided with that kind of focused imagery, doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. It begins to adapt, to believe, to prepare you for what you've already seen in your mind. You're not hoping for the best. You're programming it. That's what high-level performance looks like. It's not reactive, it's intentional, and it starts in silence. What you practice in stillness becomes your default in motion. When things go wrong, when pressure hits, when life spins out, you won't panic, because you've already trained for this. You've built the mental space to pause before reacting, to think clearly under stress, to lead yourself through chaos instead of being swallowed by it. And that comes from 10 minutes of discipline. 10 minutes of choosing your thoughts before the world throws its thoughts at you. Every morning you sit in silence. You sharpen the most important tool you have, your mind. You begin the day from a place of strength, not survival. And that changes everything. Most people drift through their days like leaves in the wind, tossed around by demands, distractions, and decisions they didn't plan for. They wake up and immediately start reacting, responding to emails, messages, and the world's expectations. But here's the truth. If you don't command your day will command you. Writing down your intentions every morning isn't just a feel-good habit. It's a declaration of ownership. You're not leaving your energy up to chance. You're not waiting to see how things go. You're deciding what the day will look like before it even begins. And that kind of clarity doesn't just change your to-do list. It changes your entire identity. When you take a pen and write out your intentions, your focus sharpens, your vision clears. You're no longer operating from memory. You're operating from mission. And that shift is everything. You write down the kind of person you want to be, the energy you want to bring, the goals you will crush, not the ones you might get to if the day goes well. You stop being vague. You get specific. What are you building? Who are you becoming? What do you need to do today to move the needle? This isn't journaling for the sake of emotion. This is blueprinting. This is strategy. This is leadership over your life, and it happens one written word at a time. The act of writing forces your mind to slow down. It pulls you out of the fog and demands intention. You don't scribble nonsense when you're writing your future. You craft it. You direct it. You speak it into existence through ink and certainty. That's how self-trust is built. You write something down, then you follow through, again and again, until you start to believe yourself. And when you believe yourself, you become unstoppable. Because most people don't follow through. Not because they're lazy, but because they never took the time to define what they're following through on. Clarity creates action. Action builds confidence. Confidence creates results. It starts on the page. This isn't about having a long to-do list or packing your day with endless tasks. This is about alignment. Are your actions aligned with your purpose? Are you doing things that actually matter? Or are you just staying busy? Writing your intentions every morning holds you accountable to your priorities. It forces you to look at your life and ask, am I building something that reflects my vision? Or am I reacting to whatever shows up? That's the line between growth and stagnation. Most people confuse movement with progress. But when you write down intentional goals every morning, you start to spot the difference. You stop doing things just to feel productive and start doing things that are actually transformative. You also begin to recognize patterns. You see which goals keep showing up unfinished. You see where you're stuck, what you keep avoiding, what goals light you up versus what tasks drain you. Writing reveals truth. And with that truth, you gain power. You start asking better questions. Why am I avoiding this? What belief is holding me back? What environment is feeding my distraction? That daily process of reflection keeps you honest. It strips away the noise and reveals the real work that needs to be done. Not the pretend work, not the busy work. The real, raw, uncomfortable work that actually moves your life forward. And facing that daily with courage is how you elevate. The pen becomes a weapon against chaos. The notebook becomes your daily war room. You're not just writing thoughts. You're laying down the strategy to win the day. Not survive it. Win it. Because when you write it, you commit to it. When you commit to it, you show up for it. And when you show up consistently, your life transforms. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of is, when. So while the world scrolls, reacts and drifts, you write, you plan, you execute. That's the difference. That's the edge. That's what separates the intentional from the overwhelmed, the leaders from the lost, and the powerful from the passive. Most people begin their day by doing what's easy. Checking messages, browsing headlines, replying to emails. It feels productive, but it's not powerful. Because the hard truth is this: the quality of your day is directly tied to your ability to do the hard thing first. The thing you've been avoiding. The thing that challenges you, stretches you, forces you to level up. That's the task that sets the tone. When you start your day by attacking the hardest task on your list, you shift from passive to powerful. You take control. You stop reacting and start leading. You prove, before the sun is even high in the sky, that you are the kind of person who finishes what matters, not just what's convenient. This isn't just about productivity, it's about identity. When you choose to confront the most difficult challenge first thing in the morning, you're training your mind to face discomfort rather than run from it. You're building a reputation with yourself that says, I can be counted on when it matters. And that is rare. Because most people are trapped in a loop of procrastination, drowning in tasks they avoid, shrinking from anything that requires real effort. But the people who succeed at the highest level aren't the ones who work the longest hours. They're the ones who do the hard thing when it's hardest. First, early, without complaint. That's where self-respect is built. Doing the hardest task first unlocks a mental edge that most people never access. It gives you momentum. And momentum is everything. Once you've tackled the most intimidating thing on your list, everything else feels light in comparison. Meetings feel smoother. Conversations feel easier. Minor problems don't faze you because you've already flexed your courage muscles. You've already faced resistance and pushed through it. That one choice, made consistently over time, builds a level of inner confidence no amount of external validation can touch. You stop second guessing yourself. You stop hesitating. You become faster, sharper, more decisive. Because you've conditioned yourself to act, especially when it's uncomfortable. It also eliminates the silent anxiety that comes from avoidance. You know that feeling, the one that lingers all day because the task you need to complete is hanging over your head. It drains you. It steals your focus. It occupies space in your mind, even when you're doing other things. But when you knock out the hardest task first, you eliminate that burden, You free up mental bandwidth. You create space for creativity, for strategic thinking, for peace. You become more present in everything else you do because your energy is no longer tied up in avoidance. You've already done the work. You've already shown up. That sense of completion creates a ripple effect of discipline and clarity. And here's something most people never realize. Doing the hard task first doesn't just make the day better, it makes you better. It rewires your relationship with pain, with pressure, with progress. You begin to associate challenge with growth instead of fear. You no longer flinch at obstacles. You lean into them. You no longer wait for motivation. You move with discipline. That mindset shift is everything. Because life isn't going to hand you perfect conditions. It's going to throw you storms, delays, criticism, and doubt. But when you've trained yourself to go after the hard thing, first, you stop fearing the storm. You become it. And people feel that energy when you walk into a room. They sense the clarity, the edge, the power. And it all starts with one choice: tackle the hardest task before anything else. This is how you separate from the average. This is how you rise. Not by being busier, not by doing more, but by choosing the hard over the easy, the uncomfortable over the familiar, the meaningful over the mindless. Every single morning, the opportunity is there. You can delay the hard thing, or you can dominate it. You can keep letting fear whisper, "Not yet." Or you can respond with action and say, "Watch me." It's not about doing everything. It's about doing what matters most and doing it first. That's how you build days you're proud of. That's how you build a life you're proud of. This is not just a challenge. This is a transformation. Because these 21 days are not about routines. They're about becoming the kind of person who owns their life. The kind who doesn't need to be pushed, reminded, or motivated. The kind who leads, who decides, who executes. Each morning, you have a choice to stay where you are or to rise into who you're meant to be. It starts in silence, in movement, in discomfort. In discipline, it starts with a pen, a cold shower, a 5 a.m. decision that no one sees, but you feel. And that feeling, that fire, it's not temporary. It's who you are now. So when the 21st morning comes, you won't be asking, "Can I do this?" You'll be saying, "I am this." And the world will have no choice but to adjust to the new version of you. It begins tomorrow. Don't wait for permission. Take the first hour and take back your life.